Salve to discipuli. This is Magistra Buddy, and this lesson is going to be about verbs. It's going to review all of the verbs covered in stages 1 through 15. To start, we're going to talk about personal endings. The personal ending indicates who or what is doing the verb. First person singular ends in O. Sometimes it ends in an M. While that may sound new to you, it is something that you've actually seen several times, and we'll see a couple examples of that later. If it ends in just an S, then it means you. If it ends in a T, it's he, she, or it, or the subject, such as the cook or grumio. If it ends in mus, it's we, tis, it's you all, and t, it's they, or it could be multiple subjects, such as mother and father walk down the street. Now, when you see a verb that ends in S, make sure that you're not actually looking at tis or mus, and that S really is just the entire ending. Same with the T here. Make sure that there isn't an N in front of it, because if there's an N in front of it, you're looking at a plural third person as opposed to a singular third person. And here's an example of these endings attached to the end of a verb. So porto, I carry; portas, you carry; portat, he, she, or it, or a stated subject carries; portamus, we carry; portatus, you all carry; and portant, they, or multiple subjects carry. Take a moment, copy down these sentences, and then write out a translation. All right, so the first one we have grumio canam coquit. Grumio cooks dinner. Pecuniam teneo, I hold the money. In culinam curitis, you all run into the kitchen. And then we have the irregular verb to be. Here is an example of, in the first person singular, seeing the ending M. So here the M indicates I. So I am, you are, he, she, it, or some stated subject is we are, you all are, or they, or multiple subjects are. So pause the video, copy down these 3 sentences, write out a translation. All right, so nona estis contenti? Surely you're all satisfied. Quoquus est in culina? The cook is in the kitchen. Mater et pater sunt laeti? Mother and father are happy. And then we have the imperfect tense. Bom, bos, bat; bomus, batis, bont. The blue here is your tense indicator. So when you see the BA here, you know you're looking at the imperfect tense. And then we have our person indicators here. So the M is I, the S is you, the T is he, she, it was, the mus is we, tis is you all, and T is they. For the time being, make sure that when you're looking at the imperfect, that you translate it as was or were plus the ing form of the verb. Sometimes that'll be really clunky and it won't work, and we can work around that. But for the time being, go ahead and try to translate it as was or were plus the ing. This way it indicates something that happened over an extended period of time in the past. Pause the video, copy down these 3 sentences, and try to write out your translations. All right, so servi per viam ambulabant, the slaves were walking through the street. Grumio canem timebat, Grumio was afraid of the dog. Here's an example of where the was plus the ing form is really clunky, it doesn't really work. You could say Grumio was fearing the dog in order to get that ing in there. In cubiculo domiebamus, we were sleeping in the bedroom. Okay, so the irregular form to be also comes in the imperfect tense. Eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. Copy down these 3 sentences and then we will discuss. All right, so number 1, Harry and Willa eramus. Yesterday we were in the house. Eramus homines sed nunc sumus umbrae. We were humans, but now we are ghosts. And number 3, eras discipula. You were a student. All right, and the last tense that you learned in previous years is the perfect tense, and that comes from the third principal part. The endings are e, isti, it; imus, istis, erunt. Copy down these 3 sentences, pause the video, copy them down, and write out your translations. All right, so clamanes clamorem audiuit, clemens heard a shout. Caecilium salutavimus, we greeted Caecilius. Agriculae mercatorum pulsaverunt, the farmers hit the merchant. Okay, something else that you need to be aware of for verbs are the infinitives. The infinitive is always the second principal part of a verb, and what's in red here is your thematic vowel, and that helps you determine which conjugation it comes from. If it has an accented A in the infinitive, it's from the first conjugation. Accented E, it's from the second. If it has a regular E, it's from one of the third conjugations. If it has an accented I, it's from the fourth. There's really two different types of infinitives we're going to be dealing with right now. One is the complementary infinitive, and the other is the infinitive as a subject. The complementary infinitive is an infinitive that's completing the idea, and you can see the word complete right here. It's completing the idea of the main verb. The infinitive as a subject is where the infinitive is functioning as part of the subject of the sentence. So copy these 5 sentences down, translate them, and give a good guess as to which ones you think are a complementary infinitive and which ones you think are a subject infinitive. All right, so necessa est cubum portare. It is necessary to carry the food. You could also turn it around saying that carrying the food is necessary, or to carry the food is necessary. This is an example of the infinitive functioning as part of the subject. Number 2, magistra Latinam docere vult. The teacher wants to teach Latin. This is an example of a complementary infinitive. Vult is the main verb, wants. To teach is completing the idea of the main verb. Plaustrum trahere debes, you ought to drag the wagon. This is also a complementary infinitive because the trahere, to drag, is completing the idea of the main verb, debes, you ought. Diem capere cupimus, we wish to seize the day. This is also a complementary infinitive. Cupimus is the main verb, we want. Canes audire potestis, you are able to hear the dogs. This is also a complementary infinitive. Audire is completing the idea of the main verb, which is potestis. Verbs are really the crux of any sentence. They can really help you sort through and figure out what's going on in the sentence. So if you are ever just overwhelmed by a sentence, oftentimes finding the verb and figuring out what's going on with the verb can help you sort through the rest of the sentence. So thank you for listening. Show up to class with lots of questions. Valete discipuli.